Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Angie, and in this video I've got a few thrift flip upcycles and a scrap wood project, so let's get started. For this first project, I'm starting with a vague idea and then working out the logistics as I go along. I'm using 3 metal candle sconces, or at least I think that's what they are. I started by removing all the parts that held the candles using a hacksaw. On some of them I just bent the ring and it easily came off. Next, I used Gorilla Glue and glued one end of the metal square to a piece of scrap wood. I then used some cable staples over the metal edge for added stability. I then added the third candle holder. Again, I used Gorilla Glue, but I also used a zip tie to help hold it together as the glue dried. I couldn't get the zip ties as tight as I needed them to be, so I removed them and used wire instead, wrapping the wire tightly where the pieces met. I then let the glue dry overnight. Next, I cut the bottom section off of a chair leg to use as the feet. Someone must have hand turned these because I cut them all at the same spot. These 3 are fairly close. This one, as you can see, is noticeably shorter. So I'm going to have to compensate for this difference. For the shorter leg, I simply glued 2 small wood discs to the top of the leg. I then glued and nailed all of the feet to the bottom of the shelf. After attaching all the feet, I gave it a coat of paint. Since I wanted to paint the metal parts, I figured the easiest way was to use spray paint, so I went ahead and just used the spray paint on the entire thing. I didn't like how this edge was looking, so it's pretty dirty. I found this piece of scrap trim in my garage, so I cut it down, and I'm going to add it all around the outside of this bottom shelf. I glued and nailed the trim pieces on and then gave them a coat of paint as well. To make the top, I used a piece of wood and added some smaller pieces around 3 of the sides. For the 2 side pieces, I cut a curve on the top using a jigsaw. I then just used glue and nails to attach them. Next, I sanded the entire thing. I then gave it a coat of stain. When the stain was dry, I attached the metal base to the top the same way as I attached it to the bottom. To finish it, I gave it a couple of coats of a clear sealer. For the next project, I'm again using pieces of scrap wood. I wanted to make a small hanging box that I can use on the shaker peg shelf that I made previously. I started by cutting the pieces to the size that I needed. I then drilled a hole at the top of the longest piece and then cut off the top corners of this piece of wood as well. Next, I attached the side pieces to the back using glue and nails. After I attached the sides, I then added the front piece. Once I had all the sides nailed together, I cut the piece of wood for the bottom and then glued and nailed that into place as well. I then filled in all the nail holes, and when that was dry, I sanded the entire thing. Next, I gave it a coat of white paint and then remembered that I wanted to paint it green. So after the white paint was dry, I painted it green. I then decoupaged a label to the front simply because I like that look. To finish it, I applied a coat of antiquing wax. For my last project, I'm giving some of my bunnies a makeover. I've seen a lot of metallic bunnies in the stores right now, and I love how they look, but I didn't want to buy them when I already had some ceramic ones at home. I didn't have any gold spray paint, so I'm going to use Rub and Buff or gold wax instead. I started by giving mine a coat of black chalk paint. I figured if I couldn't get full coverage with the gold wax, the dark paint underneath would give it a worn, distressed look. When the paint was dry, I applied a coat of gold Rub and Buff to the paint. You would think this took a lot of product, but it actually only used a very small amount. For this small bunny, I used the DIY gold wax. Like I said, if you have gold spray paint, you can use that and then skip all of these steps, but I really like how the gold wax looks. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed these projects, and I'll see you in the next video.